it also affects the service member with the mission. Those ripple effects are pretty broad depending on if there's financial strain at home and the service member gets deployed or goes TDY, it can cause a lot of strain on their ability to focus on the task at hand. And then of course that can affect their buddies, their unit around them, and the mission going forward.
So taking that into consideration, Congress actually did something in the National Defense Authorization Act of 2018.
Right.
And they gave DoD and the branches the ability to reimburse some of that money that these spouses might have to put out for recertification or relicensure. When you guys found out about that it had passed and was included in this bill, what was the reaction?
Yeah, we're pretty excited about that. That's it provides a lot of financial resilience to the family as a PCS. So pretty happy about that, pretty happy that Congress is thinking comprehensively about what that looks like every time you PCS, and knowing that they can get that reimbursement every time they PCS. It's not just a one-time deal. So yeah, we have yet to see that be implemented, but the fact that it was signed into law is a pretty big deal.
So now, almost a year and a half later,
right?
Where are we with those programs?
We have yet to see any implementation. We've heard that the Air Force is close, but the other branches we haven't heard from as far as where they're at. We don't, we've heard Air Force say maybe summer this year, but when exactly, we don't know. We don't know what that program is going to look like as far as, how it actually works when you PCS. Do you submit your receipts for these fees that you've incurred to get relicensed for another state? What does that look like? And just the whole gamut of it.
What is that like, that we're going on almost a year and a half and these programs were authorized, but there's nothing in reality happening with them?
Yeah, it's really frustrating to see that, there's the excitement of it got passed into law, and spouses are excited. We were excited as an advocacy organization, but then a year and a half later to see there's nothing to show for it yet, it's really frustrating. It's frustrating to us. It's frustrating to the families because they know that this affects their bottom line every time they have to PCS. And military families are willing, and we volunteer along with our service members, and so we're willing to make the moves. We're willing to put the mission forward. First, we understand that, but when the services have the ability and the authority and the funds to do something like this and provide an extra layer to assist military families as they're asking them to move pretty frequently, it's frustrating that it hasn't been implemented.
What would you say to someone who says, well, my husband changed jobs and we have to move and I have to pay all of those fees too?
Yeah, and that happens, and we understand that it happens far beyond the military community. But I think the difference is with the military, we're moving at the government's request because of the mission to serve the nation and to protect the nation. So there's a difference between taking a job that you would like to take, and that being a choice for the family or a personal choice for that individual and their profession, and being told to for the sake of maintaining our freedoms.
What is the message that you are getting from the branches that these programs have not been implemented?
We've just heard that we haven't heard an excuse necessarily, just that they're working on the policy, and then hoping, sometime this year is the only, we've gotten that from the Air Force, but we haven't heard why it hasn't been implemented. What's the holdup? We haven't heard that at all.
What does it say to you that a year and a half later these programs have not been implemented?
It makes us kind of question, where the concern for the family and the concern for spouse employment. We know, DOD knows that the spouse employment rate is high at 24%, as I mentioned before. They also know that over 30% of those spouses who are employed in fields that require a license or certification. So that's more than the national average. I believe the national average for professions that need a certification or license is in the 20 percentile range. So military spouses are, 10% over that, plus with such a huge unemployment rate and underemployment rate. So it causes us to wonder, why isn't this a higher priority, especially when they've been given the authority?